I almost lost the love of my life.
I was helpless.
Imagining me without them.
I
Didn't know what was
Face instantly turned white. This shouldn't have happened to you.
I just everything went black.
My whole body was shaking.
Screamed her name, but she couldn't hear. None of this made sense.
Death.
Life.
38 Sheffield Avenue.
The American Heart Association has spent over $3.3 billion since 1949 in cardiovascular research. And among those who were funded by the American Heart Association are 11 Nobel Prize winners. And a lot of people are walking around today and have a better quality of life despite their cardiovascular disease because of the contributions of the American Heart Association.
They talked to me about this thing called a TAH, which is called a total artificial heart. And or they also refer to it as like a bridge to transplant. So what it is they cut your heart out completely and stick a pump inside of you and sew it into your arteries and everything. And then you have tubes coming out and it's powered by a machine and it pumps blood just like your heart would until a donor heart becomes available. You know, I'm on the Big Blue, I'm getting better, and they've been putting these little bugs in my ear about this thing called the Freedom Driver. And essentially, basically what it is it's the Big Blue, which has been around for, 15, 18 years. It's that condensed into a 13-pound machine the size of a backpack, and it fits in a backpack so you can wear it and walk around. When I got my heart transplant, I left the hospital like 11 days after I got the transplant. They sent me home. Without the Freedom Driver, I couldn't have gotten in as good a shape as I did to go into that surgery to have this heart transplant. I don't think there's anyone who doesn't know somebody that doesn't have someone in their family or know someone that's had an issue with their heart.
Go Red is a slogan that, as I understand it, that's been developed by the American Heart Association to champion an opportunity for women to get involved in improving their heart health. You get such reinforcement from the group of the women here and involved with the American Heart Association in this particular venue, and that's very encouraging. It was my own personal aha moment that came as a result of my chairing one of the committees for the luncheon and being offered an opportunity to take a test. And the results of those tests came back, and I was way out of whack. First was my participation in the American Heart Association, Go Red, then the test as a result of that being in the circle of red, then saying this, this has got to change.
It struck me out of the blue at 39. No past medical history, no real family history. Literally, I can remember up to the point of getting in the shower, stepping in the shower, and then it goes blank. And then the next memory that I have is waking up in the ICU at 1:30 in the morning where they performed the hypothermia treatment on me. I was down for at least 4 to 10 minutes. And realistically, I should be sitting in a nursing home. I should have people taking care of me 24/7. And within a couple months, I was back to work.
For a routine 20-week ultrasound. During that ultrasound, the doctors found that there was something wrong with Joshua's heart. The cardiologist came out with a box of tissues after that appointment, and she said, "Your child has a heart defect," and she told us he was missing a ventricle, and that this defect is 100% fatal. And I went to the cardiac intensive care unit, the CICU, and I didn't recognize him. I thought, did I have this baby? Is this the same baby I had? Because he did not have any place without a tube, a wire, something hooked up to him. And he just was so little. And there were all these machines. There were machines on either side of him, all around his crib, lined up, stacked up like almost to the ceiling. And there was this little baby in an incubator. It was almost surreal. And I thought, someone made a mistake here.
And other people see me, they feel better because I had like 3 surgeries and half a heart.
I'll never forget the first time a woman came to our Mended Little Hearts group meeting, and she was pregnant with a child with a single ventricle, a very similar defect to what Joshua has, and they were so scared. And then Joshua was running around the room like a crazy kid. The relief that flooded them at that moment was just amazing, and they got to see that there is hope.
It was June the 7th, and we were getting ready to have an awards assembly for the entire school. When I walked down the steps and I saw her, I thought, oh, maybe she just fainted. You know, I knew her. She had no medical problems, no history in the past of anything serious. And I ran down the steps, but when I turned her over, she was blue. We started compressions. One of the teachers went and got the AED. We put the AED on her. It analyzed her within seconds, told us to shock her, and after the second shock, her heart started beating again. The EMTs came in, and they knew they were coming into a cardiac arrest. But when they walked in the door and we were able to say the second shock got her heart beating again, they smiled. They were taking a child to the emergency room that had a heartbeat. Because of the AED, Catherine is here. If you don't have a defibrillator to use, you're usually going to take someone to the hospital that's died. I can't tell you what it means to have been able to save her life. I never wanted to look at her father and say, your daughter died in this building, and I couldn't do anything to help her.
All of a sudden the room just started to get really foggy, and it started to look kind of like a tunnel, and everything just kind of like went out and it went black. And he told me that I was like, Dad, and I got up and I just fell. I fell right there on the floor. And I don't remember falling. I don't remember what I said, but he kept, saying Ash, and I didn't really say, I didn't respond or anything. And finally, I think I could hear him on the phone, and he was calling 911, and I knew that. I could hear him saying, she's not moving, she's not saying anything, and he was, my dad's a very strong man, and he, the panic in his voice, I knew, I was like, this isn't right. I just tried to like remain calm, and I was like, everybody's here, I'm okay, like, I can't feel anything, but everything's gonna be okay. I just kept trying to talk myself like, I don't know what's going on. Stroke was not at the forefront of my mind. I want to help younger adults realize, take your health seriously and watch for signs, because you just never know.